Okay, so most people, they just tap on their phones and move on. Me, I try to open up one app and my phone opens up like 5. Trying to text, autocorrect turns, hey, how are you, into help, how are you? Swiping, hope you like random screenshots and accidental likes from 2013. And at this point, if I ever text you something really weird, just know that it was a team effort between me and my phone. So most people just walk through a doorway, right? Well, me, it's like my feet just saw a do not enter sign. I step forward, but my legs suddenly forget that we agreed on this plan. Of course, I overcompensate and ricochet off the door frame like I'm trying to knock myself into another dimension. And at this point, if you see me hesitating in a doorway, just know that I'm giving my feet a stern talking to. All right, so most people put on socks in what, 3 seconds? With Parkinson's, I stretch, I twist, I wobble, I sweat, and maybe get one sock on halfway. It's like my foot's in the witness protection plan and it refuses to cooperate. And by the time I'm done, I need a nap, I need a trophy, and probably a chiropractor. So if you see me wearing slippers today, just know the socks won the round, but we'll tangle again tomorrow. And yeah, it's bacon and eggs. That's how I roll. My, Brian. Oh my goodness. Hey everyone, welcome back to Life in Motion. I'm Bryce and this is my buddy Brian. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great today. Looking forward to a great show.
Awesome, man. I'm so glad that you're with us today. Today's episode is all about something that we don't talk enough about, and it's the mental game of Parkinson's. Staying positive, staying motivated, staying you. What do you think of that, Brian?
I think we're on the right page, so to speak. Yeah, it's good to remain positive, regardless of what's going on around you. We may have Parkinson's, but Parkinson's doesn't have us. We got to stay in control.
Love it, man. Yeah, and what? It's not just about the tremors, the stiffness, right? It's not. Yeah. It's about how this disease messes with your mindset, your emotions, your confidence. It's unbelievable. It can just like come in and just wrap you up. So today we're going to share what works for us, what doesn't work. Things we've tried maybe, and things we've learned. And sometimes I've learned a lot of things the hard way. So, but first, let's start with our stories. How about that, Brian? We've talked a lot about our diagnosis in the past, and there was a time after I was diagnosed that I felt completely lost, right? Not just physically, but mentally. I didn't know how to stay hopeful. I didn't feel like myself. Did you go through that as well when you after diagnosis?
So short answer, yes, but I want to remind both yourself and the audience, you were diagnosed much soon, way before I was, and when I was diagnosed, it was a year before COVID hit. So then I hit this empty zone, if you like, called COVID. Everybody was sent home. I wasn't out in front of people worried about certain things. So I kind of treated it as an opportunity to just remain normal, or try to be as normal as I could, right?
Wow.
And that's when I set the goal for myself, because I remember reading or seeing in a webinar, Parkinson's webinar, where this disease, it's gradual. It's not like you flip a light switch and wow, I'm stiffer today than I was yesterday.
Yeah,
it takes time to do that. And what I found was, if I could set a goal to wake up tomorrow feeling as good as I did today, then that's a hell of a victory.
Man, I'd love to be able to. Hey, wouldn't you like to be able to control that? Like, you know what I mean? It's the same way. I'm the same way. It's sort of like I want to be better. Like I want to do better today than I did yesterday. You know what I mean? I want to feel better than I did, and and it's out of our control, and that's what messes your mind up, right? Because I don't know about you, and maybe those of you here, and and a big shout out to everybody who's here this morning. I see that in the comments, and it's StreamYard that we're using right now. But morning, Lori, morning, everybody. I'm glad that you're here, or afternoon, I guess. Morning for me, afternoon for most people. But that's that thing, and you know what? Hit that thumbs up button if you wish, and because I think I'm a control freak. I mean, I think I'm a control freak. I want to control how I feel. I want to control how my body. I mean, it pisses me off that I can't control my body sometimes, right? And so, that's what messes my head up because it can frustrate me. It can make me angry. I'm like, why is my foot not listening to me? I want to walk. Why am I stuck? Right? And so, are you a control freak, Brian? Is it you?
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, I am. I'll admit it. Yeah, but you said something that just triggered something for me. That's where knowledge comes in when you're diagnosed with something like Parkinson's. It's how much can you learn about it, so you understand it better, so you set proper expectations. So when you get out of bed in the morning and you wrestle with your sock, and you only get half your sock on,
Yeah.
I love
That happens too often, Brian. That's
I do an Olympic event every morning called Get Dressed. I hear you, buddy. But I think having more knowledge around your surroundings, like a Parkinson's diagnosis, it's important.
Yeah.
In fact, I was doing some work with Google, doing some searching and doing some AI stuff.
Oh man, I thought you got a job for a minute. I thought you were working with Google. I was like, oh
No.
I was like,
I'm staying retired. But I found this list of 7 things that you should be doing to remain positive. And one of them on there was educate yourself about, fill in the blank for us to educate yourself about Parkinson's disease. And that's where I've been talking about, where, I started doing that and I was the student. And then I thought, well, if I could share some of this knowledge, that would be great. So then I became the teacher. So now I'm a student, a teacher, and then I did so much of it. Like I was telling you earlier, I probably did hundreds of hours of webinars and podcasts.
Yeah.
In 2014.
Knowledge is power.
And that got me to an expert generalist. So I know a little bit about everything. And that's why Shaky and Fakey, I've owned them so far. I don't want to jinx myself. But I'm never going to know it all, right?
No,
but
for sure.
It's going to provide me an opportunity to understand where maybe I need to apply a bit more time, talent, and energy to learn a bit more stuff.
Absolutely. You know what? It's true, right? And hey, our buddy Rick's here from our the peer to peer there. So, hey, Rick, how's it going? I think that for me, like some days I can still get there. I can still be frustrated. I can still get that little but I found ways to get my mind back in the game. Right. And that's what's important for me is to get my mind back in the game as fast as I can. Like, I gotta control that. I gotta get into my routines, right? I gotta use my humor. I gotta remember my purpose, remember what I'm doing, remember that, oh, well, it is what it is. And, so that emotional side is such a mindset, right? It's just a mindset. And as far as I'm concerned, and, I think the thing that sometimes I used to struggle with, and I think some people maybe do, is that you have to choose your mindset. Right? It's like, if you can be having the crappiest day, right? That couldn't get that sock on, you're feeling you didn't sleep last night, and you have to choose to smile. You have to choose to be happy through it.
Yeah.
Right? Wrong? Yeah. I don't know.
No, I think your attitude is a decision. It's your decision. You can allow other factors in. Yeah. And I know we've talked about this before, Bryce. I would never invest 24 hours in a bad day. I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't give up 24 hours for a bad day. I'll give up moments.
Yeah.
So the sock pissed me off, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna allow that to eat me up for 5 or 10 minutes, but then I'm over it. Now I'm trying to do my shirt up. It's a whole different game.
And what about you? What about you listening and watching today? Is it a choice? Is it a thing? Is it an easy choice? I mean, that's the other part to it too. There's days like and I want to be real. right? I want to be real, and I want to like say that, they're like, oh yeah, it's easy to be positive all the time. No, it's not. There's some days are just really crappy, and there's some days I'm not that positive, and I have to, I rely on others to kind of to boost me up as well, right? But I think that that decision, and and in the comments, or just let us know if that's a choice that's as easy to make, or if you have a hack to it. But I've got a couple things, Brian. I got a couple little things that I think that I do that can kind of keep my mind right and kind of keep where I'm at, and I think it will help. So I'll throw one out there. And my first one is really it's having a routine. Right, when my schedule's loose, my mood slip fast. Like it's like do you ever hear that saying that if you don't plan your day will plan you.
Yeah.
Right, and you run around like putting out fires, all hell's breaking loose, it's like everything's going wrong, and one thing after the other goes wrong, and I realize, I didn't really sit and plan out my day. And that's one thing that Parkinson's has done for me, and is that I have to slow down. Like I'm a go, like I'm like all gas no brakes, like I want to go, I want to give her. If I'm doing something, I want to do it like intensely, and it's made me slow down and really think about my day. So I start thinking about my, like the day before, night before, where's my medication, what do I have going on, what time does that start, like I don't know. And I don't, hopefully this wasn't on the camera when we were starting, but when that intro was on, and all of a sudden my wife's like, your meds. I'm like, what? So I'm like quickly throwing pills in my mouth, and I'm like drinking. I'm like, I'm waiting, thinking the screens are going to come live, and I'm trying to get my meds in. But I planned it to have them just right before. Like I literally planned the day out already when I was going to take my meds, so that I'd be the best on that I can be when I'm on, right? And so it's made me do that, and that routine keeps that in check. And I find the days that I really stick to that planned out, and I had it planned and I stick to it, my mental, I don't want to say capacity, my mental, I'm it's better. I'm good.
That's important. I agree with you 100%, my friend. Absolutely. And, Irving Berlin said in life, it's 10% what happens to you and 90% how you handle it. And I think that's important, right?
Yeah.
And you can make yourself be more positive. As an example, when I had my heart surgery back 17 years ago, one of the things I did to help me in my recovery was I posted a motivational quote on my Facebook page every morning. And I
Okay, cool.
threw a handful of them. I picked the one that resonated for me that morning,
Yeah.
that day, and I threw it on there. I did that, Bryce, quite honestly, for almost 3 years. And one day
Wow.
I just stopped. Well, it was a half a day or a half a second, because my inbox started to blow up. People were like, Brian, where's your quote? I need it. I use that every day. I'm like, here it comes. Grab the rope. You're okay.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you start doing something for you, and then you don't realize that everybody needs it, and that kind of leads right. And just to throw it out there, in the comments, in the live during this live broadcast, and if you're in the replay, if you're watching this in replay, no matter when it is, throw them in there. We read every comment, like we go through them. We want to you to be involved, but they were saying the same thing: routine. It's just something. But what you just said though kind of leans into what I was thinking. I lean a lot on humor. I mean, that's sort of where I kind of do it. I feel like if I can laugh at something, and usually it's myself, right? It just sort of lightens the weight on me. Same, you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dopamine is it needs to be fed happy thoughts. And if you feed dopamine happy thoughts, you have a better chance of your dopamine lasting longer.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, true enough.
So if you are, not hiding behind, but stepping out there with humor, it can't help but help you.
That's so true. And that smile, everything goes, like even that smile, they say even that smile, right? It brings some dopamine. But what's funny is I do those motivational morning things, and I make fun of myself normally, but normally make fun of PD. Well, I'll be honest. When the first few times I did them, I was like getting scathed in some of the. I got to like. I've never done it for deleting comments because I'm like, whoops. I guess this is a sacred thing. I'm not supposed to go after because people are like, how can you make fun of such a horrible disease and how can you do this? Like, it's just awful. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I don't I mean the last thing I ever want to do is offend anybody. I mean, I'm not here to ruffle feathers or offend anybody. So I kind of like, okay, I better not do those anymore. And then all of a sudden I woke up one morning, I'm like, and I was in a crummy mood and I whatever, I can't remember what I think I bumped into the wall or something 18 times again. And I realized like, oh my gosh, I better not, I just said, screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. But now the comments that I get on those are so many like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like I need to laugh at it. Oh, it's so relatable. And if you can laugh at walking into the wall, it's better than walking the wall and feeling so frustrated that you can't get up. And so I think that is just, again, to me, that's just something that is just so important. And if you don't have a good sense of humor, maybe maybe it's not good. I don't know.
Maybe it's a good place to start.
And good you just never know. You never know. So that's sort of me. Routine, humor, some other things that help me. Getting outside, and which where I live, it's not that easy. You got to pick and choose your days when the heck you can get outside. But today I got a really nice day out today, and I was like, I'm gonna get some sun, get some sun and whatnot. But you know what's the big one for me, Brian? And I think it should be a big one for everybody. Just again, to keep that mental, just be grounded really is connecting with people and not just anybody. Not just connect, not going out with, Aunt Sue, who, you can sit there and complain about the politics or what's going on in the world, but people that get it and get you and understand what you're going through, connecting with those people. Like you and I, for example, before before we come live here, we kind of just, hey, let's make sure our cameras are working, all that kind of stuff. But literally we just sit here and we just yak, how was your week? What's going on? How you feeling? And, and it's, to me, that's just so important.
Yeah, and I actually belong to a support group here in Durham region where I am in the east end of Toronto. Um, I love it. It's a safe haven for
Mhm.
people to get together and talk about a common issue called Parkinson's. But that's not all we talk about. To your point, we're talking about their kids, their grandkids, somebody's moving,
Yeah.
whatever. And I find that when somebody new comes out, they're quite taken by just how social it is and how much fun it is and how much laughing we do. But it's also a safe place to have conversations about what we're going through. And some of it can help validate for you what's going on in your world. And you don't have that pity party for yourself,
Well,
right?
yeah, you know what? And so even let's say today, so one of us didn't have a good sleep, or maybe two of us didn't have a good sleep. Who do you think it was? Hey, in the comments, who do you think had the no sleep last night? But you can guess. But we started on that like, oh my gosh, But then we were talking about kids moving, all this kind of stuff and crazy. And I love this here. Rick says a schedule, exercise, hanging out with a person with Parkinson's, and if all that fails, a tub of ice cream on the couch and give into the day and hope for a better one tomorrow. If all else fails, right? If all else fails, you got to have that ice cream. I love it. But that's so true, right? I mean, we isolate, we hide, it's awful, right? And again, you're not alone. We're not, there's nothing that should isolate us to a point where we can't be around other people. It's just not. And to that point, Brian, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but and again, just testing and trying different things, but actually on the homepage of the channel, of the YouTube channel, there's a thing that says memberships right now. And so I don't, and again, no big deal, but what we're going to do is going to have a monthly Zoom call, where we can just sit and as a group. So if anybody wants to join that, it's called the Inner Circle. You can join that up and do it. And again, it's just getting out there, talking to people. And, and again, it's not all about Parkinson's. It might be a Parkinson's kind of group, but it doesn't mean that we're focused on, I mean, you start with, how you feel and what's going on, how can we help? And people get helped. But then you're talking about everything, right? We're going to talk about how the Jets are going to win the Stanley Cup. We're going to talk about how the Leafs are. I thought I'd throw that one by you, but you caught it real fast. You caught it real fast.
We did the Jets. I didn't know why we were going to have a football conversation, but anyhow.
No, we'll leave that one right there.
You know what, Brian? The other thing too, I kind of do sometimes, and it's crazy to say because we obviously want people to be here and engage with us and have fun with us too, but sometimes you have to also shut off that social media, right? When it gets too loud, like you got to take that break, and again, just for your mental clarity, especially right now. And I'm going to say it like this, and I'm we're not going to get into this at all, but with everything that's going on in the world right now, no matter where you live, there is some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff going on. And it is so easy to get lost on, social media apps or in the news and just be and just become just piled on with that stuff, right? And then wondering, where the disability is going to fall, where's Parkinson's going to fall, what's going to all this kind of stuff happen. And if you can stay on that so long that it gets on you, and it's hard to even be happy after that. Like it's almost impossible.
Yeah, that's a bad smell you don't want to carry around.
Yeah, you can't. Like it's one of those things where you can't do it. It just can't do it. It's unbelievable. What about you, Brian? Do you have any other tricks or tips or anything that you do?
The other thing is engage in something you like. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's writing poetry. For me, it's getting pickled, playing pickleball.
Getting pickled. That meant something different when you're 18, didn't
it? It sure did. But yeah, and just find something that it's not work, but it also breaks you away. It could be reading. It doesn't matter what it is. It's what you enjoy doing, and find time to do that. Schedule it. I saw Rick's note. He scheduled his ice cream. I like that.
I wish someone would schedule my ice cream. Yeah, no one ever schedules my ice cream.
You never miss out when you do it that way, right? So
that's true.
And then if I take it the other side of that coin and flip it over, there's nothing wrong with seeking some professional support. Once I got well ingrained into my diagnosis and moving forward with Parkinson's, I now see a therapist every couple of weeks, and it works. It's great. I look forward to it. It's just another outlet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, engage in activities you enjoy. Look at, getting some professional support, and the support group that I belong to. We have an official meeting the first Monday of every month at 7:00 on a Zoom call for an hour. Okay. But I think the one that we all look forward to is we meet at Tim Hortons at the end of every month.
Nice. And now, for those outside of Canada, what's a Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons is a coffee shop.
Ah.
So we go to the local coffee shop.
Like a Dunkin' Donuts too, or whatever, right?
Exactly.
All right, cool.
And and that's really cool because the mix of people, it's not just people with Parkinson's, it's caregivers.
Yes. Right?
So the conversations are really cool because they're telling me stuff that I've never had to deal with or had heard of or so forth. But we love the coffee break. If that has to get rescheduled, it always gets rescheduled really quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing beats it, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome.
So look at this. So Rick sits and eats a tub of ice cream while living with Parkinson's watches pro wrestling. So they could Zoom each other at the same time, and one could watch the other one watch the wrestling, and one could eat the tub of popcorn? No, ice cream. But go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
If he's not careful, he's going to end up looking like me in this week's picture. And that shirt is without the rubber fold.
Yeah, we were down at the beach one day with our families, and Brian was coming out of the water with his flippers on. I'm like, I got to get a picture like that. So that's
there's that humor. And you know what? When you said something earlier, Bryce, about talking about humor and whatnot.
Yeah.
I now laugh at myself more when I wrestle with my sock because it reminds me of your video. I love it.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I never win.
That's so cool. No, I don't either. I got so many socks with holes, right? Because my foot, when I finally get it in there, I push it so hard it just goes right through the thing. But Brian, you mentioned that one of the things though, you mentioned that you with a therapist, and I think that was kind of what I was thinking as well, because we have, like, again, we want to be real, right? Because then they're the bad days. They're the bad days where things just don't seem like anything's working, like nothing's going your way, and that's when it's okay to say, today I'm not okay, right, and not okay, and but I'll be okay tomorrow. And that goes right into the pro wrestling and the ice cream and everything else. But you also is having that, like, if there's too many of those bad days in a row, that's when it's time to reach out, right? Whether either. Whether either. Why am I trying to whether either? Like why? Like whatever. It's either having someone to go to, or having that person, or having that buddy, or having somebody, but somebody who knows and has been there and has done it, or can help you walk through it or talk you through it. So that's where I think where we have to be careful is it's how long it takes you to snap back, right? Like when Rick is eating a tub of ice cream on the couch, right? If it takes him 18 tubs before he's moving, that could be a bad thing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
All joking aside, you don't want to be doing that either. You don't want to
Exactly.
Eat your way through anger.
Exactly. And you know what, Patty, great question. And I just put it up here so we won't forget, Brian. We'll bring that. Let's talk about that. We'll do a little Q&A here, right, in a little bit, and let's bring it up because that's we were both talking about that this morning, actually. So perfect timing on that question. But I brought it up, Patty, and so we definitely will get to that question. So, but before we do, Brian, it is time for Shaky or Fakey. Now, I am going to, because we have a lot of people live and you can play along. I want everybody to play along, but I'm going to do this really, really quick. I'm going to think of a number between 1 and 10. And if you're live here today, right now, just put in, I got the number in my head right now, put a number in the chat. And I want you to play against Brian on Shaky or Fakey. And if you haven't been with us before, if this is your first time, this is our little Shaky or Fakey thing. That it's like a true or false question. It's going to be obviously talking about what we're talking about today, and we're going to just ask questions. So 1 to 10, really quick. If you want to go against Brian here, and you know what, we actually will give a prize away today, Brian. We actually have some swag. Oh, Patty is close. No, not close. Patty, you can guess again if you want to. You can guess again, or if no one else is. Oh, they had the same number. No, it wasn't that number. Wasn't that number. One more time. It's a little higher than that number. Whoever the next one in who's got it or the closest wins, and we will start going here because it is going to be fun. But I want everybody to play along. But Dolores is in there. Dolores, you hit it. Dolores. You're going to play. I want everybody to play, right? But right, everybody's going to play, and you got it, Dolores. You're in. So it's called Shake Your Fakey, and here we go. I'm just going to pull up the questions here because they're not going to be easy questions this time.
Shaky is true, Fakey is false, correct?
Shaky is, yeah, and I always mess that up, so I don't even know how.
I was saying that for my benefit. I wasn't saying it for your benefit.
Yes, I appreciate that so much. I really do. Okay, I'm just grabbing my questions here, and so everybody can play along. So Shake Your Fakey. I'm going to ask 3 questions, and Dolores, if you beat Brian today, we are going to send you a what's this show called? Brian, I forgot what the show was called.
Life in Motion.
Life in Motion.
Life in Motion.
We're going to send you a Life in Motion coffee cup. Okay. All right. Here we go. I think I found him. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Okay. Question number 1, everybody. Here we go. Depression and anxiety in Parkinson's are mostly a reaction to the diagnosis and not caused by the disease itself. I'll read it one more time. Depression and anxiety in Parkinson's are mostly a reaction to the diagnosis and not caused by the disease itself. And is that Shaky or Fakey? So Shaky or Fakey? Shaky is true. Fakey is false. So Dolores you're playing Dolores, and everybody else, but Dolores is a Fakey, and Brian?
Fakey.
So they both went Fakey, and Rick went Fakey, and everybody's going Fakey, and the answer is.
Where I saw Dolores' answer.
Okay, all right. Okay, I thought maybe Dolores. Maybe I put it up too soon. Okay, it is Fakey. While the diagnosis can absolutely impact emotional health, mood disorders and Parkinson's are also caused by the chemical and neurological changes, not just life circumstances. Dopamine and serotonin imbalances play a direct role. So you are 1 for 1, Brian. Dolores is 1 for 1. Everybody's 1 for 1. That was an easy one. Well, I always want to start them off easy, don't we? Like we don't want to get to the. Okay, here we go. Question number 2. If you are feeling mentally off, adjusting your Parkinson's meds is rarely a part of the solution. Shaky or Fakey? Shaky or fakey? Here, I'll read it one more time. If you're feeling mentally off, adjusting your Parkinson's meds is rarely a part of the solution. Is that shaky or fakey, Dolores and everybody else? Shaky or fakey?
I got
You
my
got it,
hand.
Brian?
Yeah.
All right, you're in. Okay, what do you think, Brian?
I'm going shaky on that one.
You're going shaky. You're going shaky. And Dolores is going fakey. And the answer is Dolores takes the lead. It's fakey.
Nice.
In fact, mental symptoms can be caused or worsened by medication side effects or sometimes from under treatment. Adjusting meds can help with your mood, impulse control, sleep, and more,
Yeah.
but always under the doctor's supervision. So there you go. Kind of cool,
Dolores.
right? You never thought. So right on. So it is two. It is 2-1, right, for
Okay.
Dolores. Here we go. Question number 3, everybody. Here we go. Let's see your answers. Apathy in Parkinson's is the same as depression and can be treated the same way. Shaky or fakey? Apathy, read it one more time. Apathy in Parkinson's is the same as depression and can be treated the same way. Is that shaky or fakey? Shaky or fakey? Shaky or fakey? This is a good this is a tough one. And Dolores is in, Brian, and I'm not putting it up.
Okay, I haven't looked at the screen yet. Yeah, this wording has me a little perplexed.
And if anybody hasn't noticed yet, Brian is a very competitive person. So this is serious right now. Like this is like serious stuff we got going on.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth. I'm going to go fakey on this one.
You're going fakey. Dolores is going fakey. Here it is. You ready? The answer is fakey. It's a trick question. Apathy and depression may look similar, but aren't the same. Apathy is more about the lack of motivation or interest, while depression includes sadness, guilt, or hopelessness. They often require different treatments.
Right on.
And guess what? Dolores won. Dolores, you have won a Life in Motion coffee cup. That is amazing. Coffee cup. It's really cool. Right hot off the presses. So we'll get that out to you. And if you want to go to the homepage, our email, there's an email address there, and you can email us and just say, ask who you are, and we'll get your address and we'll get it out to you. And thanks for everybody for playing along. It's fantastic. And guess what we're going to do? Or you can go on Instagram and DM. Doesn't matter. DM or email, but we'll leave that in your hands. And we are going to do this is during the week. If you want to, in the comments, if you'd like to play against Brian next week in the Shaky or Fakey showdown, we will put it in the comments that you'd like to play live on the channel with us, and we will bring you up and you can play against Brian, Shaky or Fakey. Just put it in there. Let us know you want to do it. So there you go. So that was kind of cool, Brian. Those were a little bit tougher, right?
It was.
They were a bit tougher.
Questions.
What's that?
Those are university questions.
Well, you're a university kind of guy.
I thought
Oh man, what's our time here? Where are we at? We are at 32 minutes. We are doing really well. So, again, if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and we'll spend some time at the end here, Brian. We'll do some live Q&A. So, why don't we just jump right to the other segment that you do, and then we'll set that was man, I'm going all over the place here. That way, we will be sure to have time for some Q&A because we have one question anyway, and I know there's a couple more questions that people want to ask. You want to do that?
Yeah, I'm ready for shake-up.
Okay, let's do it.
You ready for shake-up?
No, I'm not ready at all. I am not ready at all.
You had 12 hours, you told me.
You know what? Yeah, we weren't supposed to say who didn't sleep last night. So anyway, go ahead. I'm always ready.
Perfect. So I'm going to read out a couple of scenarios here for you, Bryce.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 3 ways to respond.
Okay.
And we'd like to hear from you which way you would respond and why.
Okay.
Okay. So scenario 1 is someone tells you you don't look sick.
Oh my God. Okay.
You're lucky it's not something worse. Do you A, say thank you and walk away? Or B, do you educate them politely? Or C, do you hit them with a heavy dose of sarcasm? I was going first. Do you hit them?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so this is too true to life. But I'm going to go with B. I educate them. The sarcasm. I think because it irritates me. It really does. It irritates me to the point where I think I would like overdo the sarcasm, right? Overdo it. And what about you in the audience? Put your answers in there. I would go with B. Educate. Maybe agree, maybe don't disagree. We got one agreement right there, so B it is. But here's what I say. I found this line, and it always is this. So it's like they're like, "Oh my god!" And I said, "Well, you know what? You should have seen me at 6 o'clock this morning. Like you're seeing me right now
Yeah.
at my peak, right? But if you would have seen me at 6 o'clock this morning, you would have been like devastated. You would have been like, what? Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? So I think people need to be educated big time. And I think that the more that we take the time to do that and educate them, and again, not being rude to them because they don't know. I mean, they don't know. They're trying to make you feel better too, right? They're kind of like trying to make you feel, oh, it's okay. I understand. You know what the one I hate, the one that really gets me, and I'll just throw it out there, maybe you've ever heard this one before, anybody, is when someone says, and someone says, they're like, "Oh yeah, my Uncle Sue," or my Uncle Sue. There's my example, Brian. My Uncle Sue. But my aunt Jean has that. My third brother's second cousin from my neighbor's uncle has that, and yeah, they're okay. You'll be okay. It just okay, great, thanks. Like, excellent. But anyway, educate. I always educate. I want to educate. We should educate.
Yeah, I tell them I'm kind of like a book. The cover was in really good shape, but the chapters inside are kind of ruined.
Ooh, that's good. Look at you. You're the snappy one. Like you come up with the one. You get those one-liners like crazy. Look at that. You're getting hearts in the thing. That's so good. All right. All right. That's my answer.
All right, excellent. Let's move on to number 2. This one is you're having a really bad symptom day,
Ooh.
and someone close to you says, "You just need to think more positively." Do you A, roll your eyes and change the subject? Let me get this next page. Or do you B, tell them how that comment feels? Or C, do you channel your frustration into a motivational speech?
If I have
Wow.
any, those are
Wow.
tough, right? I think you're trying to get me riled up here this morning, Brian. That's what you're trying to do, because
Let's go.
yeah, it's like, oh, you're hitting all the things that drive me the most crazy. Listen, if anybody either gives me a microphone or a platform, I will give you the motivational speech, and I will even strut. I will do the woohoo. I mean, I'll be like, "Come on, somebody!" I'll do. I mean, I will get into it, and so, yeah. I mean, that's so hard, right? Because. Like when you said like you need to think more positively, yeah, I get it, and I think that it just comes from some naivety there, naivety, and I kind of say that to people that say that again. I don't think the heart's wrong, right? And I have to remember that because I'm looking at somebody and I just looking like, really, like I just wanted a hug or something, and that's why I don't pull the Parkinson card out of my pocket that often, and if I do pull it out, if I pull my Parkinson card, like, hey, I don't know, I don't know if I can do this today. I'm not feeling that great, and I kind of want a hug. I think at that moment I'm asking you for a hug, right? Or kind of like a hug or an attaboy or something. And if I get like, well, just think more positively, um, you know, can you just you get irritated, but the heart's not wrong. They just don't know what to say. They don't know how to help. They're just trying to tell you something. So anyway, I would take the platform. I would take it all day long. I would educate, and I would motivate, and I would strut, and I would give them the whole 9 yards. And you know what? At the end of that, after I did that, I would be on fire. I'd be so fired up, man. I would be ready to watch pro wrestling with a tub of ice cream and go wild.
Yeah, I had an example, Bryce, back when I had my heart surgery. I was doing a speech, a presentation, and I did some Q&A at the end, and this gentleman stood up and he goes, he kind of said, "Yeah, I get it, Brian. You had, heart surgery and you overcame it. Why should I be fussed about that?" And I said to him, "Permission to speak freely." And he said, "Yes." And I said, "All I'm going to ask you is, what if you do have high blood pressure? What if you do have, and I went through, I gave him, it was a motivational speech with a lot of finger pointing. I wasn't close enough to poke him in the chest.
Oh no, but you're giving it. You're poking that. I
Right.
know. I can see it.
Right. So, and then I finished and I went and sat down and I thought to myself, you're an idiot. I'm never doing that again. That wasn't your place.
Yeah.
You could have said that a lot differently. And I went over to get a club soda, and he was at the bar as well. And he goes, I have to apologize to you. You made total sense up there. And I told my wife to book me the doctor's appointment for Monday. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
It didn't,
There you go.
so, we may think we've virtually slapped them in the face or something like that. But maybe they needed it. So I still stuck to my word. I never got on the soapbox again.
Yeah.
But if somebody asks me the question, I'll answer it. I was kind of like A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true. That's true. And that says a lot though, because we have to understand it first, right? And that's the whole thing. We have to be able to, and that's kind of rolls right back into that education. You're educating yourself, right? And just
Yeah.
kind of getting some things. And you can fake it till you make it enough. But really, if you either educate yourself or just talk like just so honestly and real.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the official word is on this one. I don't know what this organization might say about it, but all I know is I feel this way. Right. And
Yeah.
however you feel, you can't be feeling wrong. Right. That's not how it works. So I think that's really cool. And Brian, that leads right back to what I was thinking and was saying earlier is that you may have felt so. Okay, let me ask you this. So you did that. You're giving it. You're up there and you're giving this like hammer down. It's hammer down time, and you leave there and you're kind of going like, holy smokes! And so you're kind of feeling kind of like, ooh, I shouldn't have been that harsh, or you're feeling down almost. But then
Yeah.
you get that reaction. Now how do you feel? You're feeling obviously up, right? Like you're like, holy, like that's cool. Like
Absolutely.
yeah, right? So what if we had the mindset that because that might not have happened. That fellow might not have come back and told you that or whatever, and you never would have seen him again in your life, let's say. But yet you wouldn't have known if he went to the doctor. You wouldn't have known what it did to him or changed him. So what if we had the mindset that like you came back in victory, like in victory, man, I got a chance. I gave it to him and he, you know what I mean? Like think of in that from that side. But yet we're so prone as well to be so self-critical of ourselves that we're like, I think I crossed the line. Oh my God. And maybe that type of thing.
Yeah.
So imagine just living your life where you're kind of like with no regret to the point where like if I because we don't always do that. There's other times that you would if okay
Yeah.
if there was if he was in a little old dude in a wheelchair all crumpled up in the corner, you would probably wouldn't have been pointing fingers. You would have been on your knee with your hand on his knee. You might have played it different, right? But something told you that that's what needed to be done at that moment, even if you didn't consciously think it. And then I think if we had that mindset where we're just like we plow through and that yes, I did what I and feel good about it no matter what. What a cool way to live, right?
Yeah. 100%.
What a cool way to live. Well, those are some of the little tricks and tips that we found. Again, that routine, and again, we've heard, we had the amens from the audience on a lot of that stuff, and it is that routine is so important. And if you have any other things on that, so if you have any questions right now, live, let's take them. Let's do some questions. I mean, we had one come in already about the sleepiness, and Patty, I think she had to leave, but she's gonna watch the replay, so we're gonna make sure we answer that question. But if you have any questions on that or on anything else. Anything else you want to know how old Brian is? Ask away. You want to know where he buys his flippers and his bathing suit from? Ask away. There's no issues there.
I will answer almost anything you ask me. So
he will, because you know what? Because Brian is a general expert. I'm
an expert generalist.
Expert generalist on everything. So if you want
to know everything about it.
Yeah, and if I guarantee you, if you ask him any questions about the bathing suit that he's wearing in the thumbnail, if he doesn't know the answer, he will go research it. And by mid this week, because I meant to clip something. So this is
a fun fact.
I had something planned for you this morning, Brian. It was going to be so funny. It just didn't work out. But what did I say last week? I said, and I got this cheeky little text about it this week. What did I said last week?
Something about smoking and it's
no, not that one.
Oh,
Not
okay.
that one. No. That was serious. The cheeky one. or you don't know the difference. You gave me a cheeky thing about something in the dictionary. No, look
I
at
don't,
you don't even remember. You got me good. I laughed. I laughed out loud, and LOL. I mean, I laughed out loud. I literally get this text from Brian, and he goes, "Yep, it's confirmed. This is not in the dictionary." And it was
no, that's right. You make up words.
you're see
You,
you're
you
laughing
make
at your own joke.
you make up words.
I do make up words. I
You
know,
put
but
you put two words together. You chop out a vowel, and you think you've got something that's in the Webster's dictionary.
so he calls you on like a Wednesday. We did that on Sunday, and he's on Wednesday. He's still thinking of it. He checks the words of the dictionary, and he sends me the word. What was it? It started with a V. You said
Yeah, it was full of vowel movement.
so. He's like, "Yep, it's confirmed. It's not in the dictionary. You can't use that word anymore." I'm like, "It's my word. I want my own dictionary." Anyway, so that was so well played, Brian, that I had something so good for you this morning. I mean, I wish it worked, but it didn't. But anyway, that's Brian. That's how he's competitive. So, but I do make up my own words, and and you know what? I'm very happy that everybody else watching they go with me. They just go. They're like, yeah, we're going. But anyway, so let's talk this question. How do we handle? Excuse me. I'm going to ask you, Brian. How do you handle fatigue when you're too tired to go out?
I got to tell you, like I think you said Patty had to leave, but a great question. Um, I wrestle with that one all the time. All the time. I go to bed tired and I wake up tired because I take pills twice in the night, once at 2:30 a.m., once at 5:30 a.m. Plus I'm up because nature calls. It sucks. Like there was one night this past week, I forget whether it was Wednesday or Thursday. I fell asleep at 4 a.m. and I was wide awake at 6:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so. How do I handle fatigue? Early days, so 5-6 years ago when I was first diagnosed, I would go for a full-fledged layout on the couch. I'm gone for at least an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Then I was having a real hard time sleeping. So I, through my professional support network, I asked that question of my GP, my neurologist, my therapist, and they all came back with the same answer, which I figured was going to happen. I take chair naps now. So I'll be
Chair
sitting
naps.
in the chair and I'll doze off for 10, 15 minutes. I could be listening to a podcast or maybe even doing a webinar on my TV screen.
Do you listen to your own podcast that makes you fall asleep?
Only when you're, no, yeah. I do go back and listen to this because as we're participating,
Yeah.
I'm more often than not thinking about my next thought versus taking the thought in and internalizing it. So I absolutely do listen to the
Yeah.
replay.
I hate listening to myself or watching myself back.
Yeah, well,
It's
so
hard.
I don't. I did the first one. I watched Bryce, and to your point, I listen to them now. I'll be
Okay.
doing something. I'll be out doing yard work or shoveling snow, depending on whether winter or summer the day that I go out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So fatigue is a tough one. I try not to have those 4 a.m. situations too often, but sometimes it just happens. How about yourself? What's
Well,
your
I think and that's a great point, but also to Patty's point is that some days, yeah, you know what? There is some days I
yeah,
I have to call it in, and I do. I take it easy.
it's true.
I have to listen to my body and say, I'm wiped out. I'm tired. I need my charge my batteries. I'll lay there all day and watch. I'll binge something on Netflix or something because I
Yeah,
just have to do it. So again, I think it's regulating those days. If those days become too regular but there are times when I just need, and the next day I'm back at it and I can do it, no problem. So I think that fatigue, you have to listen to your body and adjust when you have to adjust, and don't beat yourself up on it, right? Okay, so does that make sense? Did that make sense?
yeah.
All right, here's another one. What's the one thing that you say to stay positive? And hold on, she has a follow up. So this is really cool. I love this. Um, for example, she tried to say live, love, and laugh. So what, Brian? What about you? What's the one thing that you say to stay positive?
Every morning when I get out of bed, I say to myself, if I can go to bed tonight feeling as good as I did this morning, I win. Because in the world of a degenerative disease, If I'm taking steps backwards, I lose. So yeah, to me, just like the book that we have, every victory counts. I count them all. I count them
That's
all.
awesome.
And I so that when I say that to myself every morning, it reminds me, have a good day. It's like I'm telling myself, have a good day. Make the best
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Did you used to watch Saturday Night Live when they used to have that guy come on there and he'd be like, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and by golly, you can do this. You have to remind yourself, and that's a great point, great question. And what about you? Anybody else? What do you say? Nia says, for example, I live, laugh, love. I get up every morning, and when I can speak without slurring, and my first meds have kicked in,
Yeah.
I look, I before I step out of bed, I always say, you know what? Uh, Parkinson's, you don't have me. I got you. You're not controlling me today. I'm
Yeah.
controlling you. So take your best shot. You're not going to win. And I just kind of get out of bed with that on. That I'm just like, I'm acknowledging this silly thing. Excuse me. I'm acknowledging the silly thing, but it not going to let it determine if I'm going to be in a good mood or a bad mood. I'm not going to let it determine that it's just not going to have me. And that's what I do. And you have to do those things. And you have to remind yourself. You just have to. And
Yeah.
then what is that now? It also says, I also, where am I here? Also, I try to, there we go. My God, I couldn't know where to look. Also, I say daily that I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm healing, even if I'm not. And that's the whole thing. It's mind over matter. It's a
Yeah.
positive thing, right?
Yeah. Like
Positive
when I
thing.
posted those quotes back when I had my heart surgery, if someone out there listening right now has a gap in any positive reinforcement, I would start there. You can
Yeah.
go to Google positive website. You'll get as many as you want. I would normally have 5 or 6 quotes in my inbox every morning, and as
Yeah.
I said, I chose the one that resonated or moved me at that time. It's not a bad practice.
Well, the other thing too, and here's living with Parkinson's is I hate listening to myself because I have a thick Southern accent. But see, I think accents are cool. So
I do.
that's the thing. It's listening to yourself, your biggest critique. You know what I did one time, Brian? And again, I hate listening to myself too. I hate watching myself, but I had to go back and I was looking at all the different titles I use for those morning motivational things or whatever. And I know this sounds crazy, but so I went, it was in the playlist and I hit play all because I had to see some things. And then and I kind of went by and it made me, I went, oh, that's kind of funny. That was kind of funny. And then one, like, that was dumb. But I actually, and then the next thing I know, I had them on and I was just walking around the house and they were still playing. It was just those constant, a little bit of music. So I was kind of moving a little bit, kept me bouncing. And I mean, that's the kind of thing. And I think that, and to that point, that Living Parkinson said, I hate my voice, Southern accent. Then you know what? Maybe it's finding those, some affirmations that you can just put in your ears, as you're kind of getting up and listen to somebody else say it. It doesn't matter. But even, whatever it might be, I think that you have to walk, you have to fake it till you make it.
Yep.
And if you're not feeling like you're making it, you still got to do it, right?
No, for sure.
I love that. I love it. You know what? This has been a great show. Listen, I want to come back to this as well a little bit, okay? But staying positive doesn't mean pretending everything's fine, right?
Exactly.
It means finding light even in the hard days, and we got to remember that, right? Doesn't mean it's all great, but we just got to find the light. You got to find it wherever it is.
Yeah.
Now, next week we're going to do something special. I think, right? Are we still doing this, Brian? We're good next week.
Let's announce it and then we're doing it.
All right. Hey, yeah, okay. Next week we're doing something special. Our wives are going to join us for an episode of Parkinson's and relationships. So you don't want to miss this. I mean, I don't want to miss it. We're going to be there. So it's going to be real. It's going to be raw. It's going to be funny. It's going to be probably emotional, just like a marriage, right? Anyway, so listen, hit subscribe and share this with somebody who you think might need a mindset boost today. We are so happy you were here today, Brian, right?
Yeah, no, this was a great show. And I was kind of drifting out there thinking to myself, next week we're going to have a couple on that have been married and just celebrated their first anniversary. We're going to have a couple on that are going to be celebrating their 43rd anniversary. That's a wealth of information.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
And you can tell by our age which one's who, right?
I just
Just teasing you. I'm just teasing. Anyway, everybody, we thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have learned something today. We hope we give you some value and hope some things resonated with you. But stay positive, stay happy. And hey, Australia, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. We love what's happening here. We love this community. And if you're not part of the community, just subscribe and come on because it's a real place where you can share real feelings and just talk about real life. So we enjoy you. We love you. And we'll see you next week.
Be well, everybody.
See you, Brian. See you, everybody. Have a great week.
Cheers.